Logan director James Mangold talks raising the edgy film's stakes. Will everybody hurt? I won't let you down. I'm Hector Navarro, and this is ScreenJunkies News. Hey, real quick, Internet, we are going to be talking possibly spoilers, maybe spoilers about the movie Logan's synopsis, some details. Y'all clicked on the video, and we're about to talk about what we've learned about this movie. Logan's theatrical release is just around the corner, and every day we're getting more and more revelations about the film. Yesterday, we learned Fox was hesitant to greenlight the movie. No big surprise there. And today we're hearing from director James Mangold, who spoke with Slash Film, great website, about raising the personal stakes for Logan. Maybe more explosive, though. He referred to Patrick Stewart's character of Charles Xavier as an ailing father that Logan has to, quote, keep from hurting anyone else when he has the world's most powerful brain, as he has a, quote, degenerative brain disease. Here to talk about Logan's relationship with X-23 and about just how dangerous Professor X could be are Markia McCarty and Dan Merle. Guys, so good to see you.
Yeah.
Great to be here. Great to have you. Cannot wait to dive in. First off, let's take a look at this full quote. Let's take a look at the full quote here. To our knowledge, this is the first time that we're hearing the good old Professor X has a degenerative brain disease and that he has apparently in the past hurt people. So this is a quote from Mangold. So how do I put Logan in the most uncomfortable position by the end of the first act that I can? And that idea for me was to have him caring reluctantly for an ailing father and suffering through a dead-end job, trying to buy his meds, trying to keep him from hurting anyone else when he has the world's most powerful brain, and Charles has a degenerative brain disease, but also being confronted with a daughter and having to decide whether he's actually going to play a role in her life and protect her and care for her. And of course, he does it slowly and begrudgingly and stubbornly as humanly possible. So there's a lot to pull from that. There's some juicy stuff in there. But question for you guys, let's talk about Xavier's brain for a second. What do you think Xavier has done? He's hurt people. How bad could it be?
Well, I think it's more of just this idea of, that, mutants are genetically, they have genetic differences from humans and that they manifest powers, but there's never been anything that says that they're immune from diseases that humans have, Alzheimer's, cancer, these kinds of things. So I think that's a very interesting way to take Professor X, which is this guy with the most powerful brain. If he were to contract a degenerative disease, that's an interesting road to go down, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Professor X is, he's terrifying. He's terrifying with his omega level powers, and he's very strong. But he's strong and moral, like he's a paladin type. But he's extremely dangerous. Yeah, I see you like that. Great. Yeah, he's a paladin. Yeah. But yeah, he's hurt people in the past. I mean, let's talk about Onslaught for a second with the Onslaught crossover. This isn't a spoiler or anything like that. When Magneto ripped the adamantium out of Wolverine's body, and then Professor X. Yeah, this is not. This is old. This is old.
Like a 20-year-old. Yeah,
it's great stuff.
Yeah,
it's so great.
This is old. But then Professor X wigs out when that happens, and he shuts down Magneto with his powers, and because of that, Onslaught is born in his subconscious and eventually evolves, and he just he cuts a swath of devastation.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the closest we've come so far is X-Men 2 featured a character that tried to take advantage of Cerebro. Right? Because he knew, Charles Xavier, when he wanted to, even in the movies, is at this level where he could be in everybody's brain on Earth at the same time if he wanted to push himself to that.
Right, so, X-Men 2 is an extinction level event.
Yes.
He was well within the capability of his powers to extinguish a species. And even as far as X-Men Apocalypse, we've seen that, and this is within the same universe, he can get inside the head of every human being on the planet. So the idea of that kind of power, kind of unchecked, is
just growing older like the rest of us.
Exactly,
and unchecked in the sense that he can't do anything about it. It's like a wild horse that he has a hold of, and then the reins slip through his fingers. Yeah, it's horrifying.
Question for you guys: do you think that he's at all responsible for the X-Men disbanding? In Logan, we know from just the trailers that there's no X-Men the way that we used to know them in the movies. That the team is no more. Are there echoes here of the twist in the comic book Wolverine Old Man Logan, which if you haven't read Internet, oh my God, get on it. It's so good. Not going to tell you the twist. But do you think that there's a possibility that Xavier is responsible in some part?
I would find it interesting if they took there's the huge twist that's in the comics I'm not going to bring up, but I would find it really interesting if it was something involving the Xavier protocols.
Tell us about that, Markia.
Yeah, it's kind of, Okay, you know how Batman has a contingency plan for all of Justice League?
Yes.
You know, that's been established.
To take them down or kill them if they turn evil.
If they turn evil. Xavier has the Xavier protocols where it's like, if I become too much of a danger to myself and the world, or other collections of X-Men do, then he has the Xavier protocols. Like, for instance, and this is not a spoiler, this is in comics, it's fine. The very first one is want to take down himself.
Before he gets to the protocols to take out other X-Men. The first one's for me. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And he leaves that for Moira, Jean, and Scott, I believe. Yeah. And basically, well, I won't give the spoiler of what it is. You can figure out how to take down Professor X.
You didn't know you were going to get a bunch of comic recommendations today, Internet, but you just did. Yeah. Do you think that this is, Dan, do you think that this is why Logan is keeping Xavier far away and isolated?
Potentially. I mean, I think that Logan is a loner himself.
Yeah.
I think that
I mean, he claims, but
he claims, but he's always the way that they've established him again in this universe is every time that he's attempted to make a connection, particularly romantically, it's just caused him more pain. And I think that I like that about that aspect of the character is he's almost doomed to be alone. And when he does find a family or a family unit, he's separated from them in some way, isolated, like, taken, experimented upon. And I like this idea of Professor X they've always shared a bond. And that's what I like about Logan and Professor X is that through the comics, through the animated series, particularly, even through these movies, is Professor X is the only one that's ever really known what he's going through.
Yeah.
Everyone else kind of gets frustrated with him and says, God, why are you like this? Professor X knows why he's like that and tries to help him. So it makes sense to me that those two would end up being the two that wind up together.
Right.
But I'm very excited to learn more about this world and where the other mutants are and why we're seeing that powers are fading. Logan's powers appear to be fading. Professor X is obviously in some sort of distress. I'm very curious to see where they're going to take this story.
Before we move on to the next question, I think it's really interesting. I think we talked about it last week or the week before, but that black and white little clip that they released for the movie on Twitter featured Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, saying he was trying to buy a boat for his dad as a gift for his dad. And I wonder, is that him trying to get Charles Xavier on a boat away from people, out isolated on the seas, so that he can't maybe hurt somebody with his very powerful brain? Maybe that'll be in the movie, maybe not, I don't know. But in any case, it was cool. Next question for you guys. The other great thing about what Mangold said is that this is also the first time we've heard Daphne Keene's character, Laura Kinney, aka X-23, referred to as his daughter. Markia, do you think that Mr. Mangold means this more in a metaphorical sense, or is it possible that Laura Kinney is actually like a biological daughter of Logan?
That's a loaded question. Biologically, yes. She, in my opinion,
Because
she's
clone.
completely, okay, so we can say it.
Okay,
all
great.
right, yes. Since she's a clone of Logan.
In the comic books, right?
In the comic books, yes. Then, yes, biologically, that's having a daughter. That definitely is. And I'm really interested in the relationship that would, obviously from what we can see with trailers and clips that they have between the two of them, because it's like, hey, we didn't do this the normal route. Someone else chose this for us. But now I have a daughter. I have a daughter and I have an ailing father. Yeah. And I'm coming apart myself. Wow.
I'm so excited about this damn movie. That sounds so great. That little pitch was so great. Dan, do you think that it's metaphorical? I mean, aside from the cloning aspect, which is true to the comic books, do you think Laura Kinney was somebody that in these movies Logan sired and then didn't know?
No, again, I think that Logan is he's not. That's just not in his character. I don't think, and
he's a cuddler.
Or he's just like a get away from me. I don't. He's Jean just completely broke his heart, and I think that it's a great. There's a reason that they use it in movies a lot. I don't want to call it a trope, but this idea of being forced to take care of a kid and that triggering some kind of awakening or self-discovery. There's a reason that movies have done that a lot, which is that it's an effective way to tell a story. So I would lean towards metaphorical if I had to guess, but I'll find out when the movie comes out. I'm one of those people, I don't want to know. I generally I don't seek it out. I don't want to know. I want to find out when I watch the movie.
Yeah. In a separate interview with comicbook.com, actor Boyd Holbrook talked about his character, the cyborg Donald Pierce, and his motivations for hunting down Laura Kinney. And he said, quote, "It Laura Kinney, is an asset. It's a value. As much as I might admire and might have designed X-23 off of Logan, she is my property and I need that back because my job is at risk. Finances is at risk. The health and well-being of a lot of people, which is why I made this thing in the first place. So that's why I need it back. What does this say to you guys about his character and his relationship with X-23?
Narcissist much? Yeah, I mean, it's all in the quote. I mean, his attraction to, or his love for X-23 is all about the design. He designed her. So he needs her back. It's a job for him, you know, and his job is his life.
And even here, he's got a very fatherly moment in this no in the trailer, you know, which means like he knows what she's capable of. But that was the most human thing we've seen of his character so far, just because it was very fatherly. But yeah, he seems like a real bastard coming off of this.
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah, real SOB. I mean,
great. No, well, enough said.
That's what makes a great villain.
I agree.
Yeah.
Still with X-23, later in the interview, Mangold admitted that as far as he knows, there are no plans to continue using the character of X-23 in future X-Men films. We know that Hugh Jackman has said this is his swan song, this is his retirement piece. But as soon as there was the potential of X-23 that fans were hearing rumors of, you know, the questions abound, are we going to see more of this young girl character? Is she going to take on the mantle of Wolverine, which in the comic books right now, she's Wolverine, and Wolverine's dead. Heads up. Great
Send
stories. Go get that. But as James Mangold says, quote, I know she was phenomenal in this movie. I can't think of a reason there wouldn't be interest in the studio or otherwise, but no one's been working on anything yet. Guys, do you think that this is a missed opportunity? Do you want to see the character continue, or do you think that they should just leave it?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen the movie, so I hope if she's good in the movie, I'd love to see more of her.
Yeah.
I'm sick of franchises. I think if she's great in this movie, and they've hinted that Logan is a standalone potentially, that it's going to be in its own, it's set in its own kind of a splinter offset universe. So I would much rather the movie focus on giving us a great end to this character that Hugh Jackman's been doing for almost 2 decades at this point,
as opposed to setting up.
I'm going to be very annoyed if this character is more about setting up X-23 than actually giving us a good send off to Hugh Jackman.
And onwards to Phase 7.
Exactly. Like I just don't. I don't want every movie to be setting up another movie. Sometimes you have to focus on the movie you're in.
Before we got Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, people were saying Shia, he's the guy. He's going to be the new Indy. We're going to set him up for that. We're going to set
okay. I thought you meant before he was cast, because I didn't say that.
No, before the movies come out, like the studio saying that, the fans are, they're learning that this is who the character's going to play, and that character didn't catch for a number of reasons. But the character didn't. Sometimes if a character catches, like a Lego Batman, then he gets a spin-off movie.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like if he's a breakout character. Marquia, do you think that X-23 has that potential, or do you think that they should put the cart in front of the horse in this case and go, no, she's this good that we're going to announce an X-23 movie before the movie comes out? Because sometimes that's exciting too. Sometimes it proves that the studio has faith in its movie that's coming out. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I agree with Dan on the burnout factor. Because we've been doing this for a while now. I'm so happy. I'm so happy all this nerd stuff is mainstream. I'm so happy about that. But I think maybe with X-23, they can explore different mediums to bring her character to us. I mean,
interesting.
Sure, yeah, the animated route is great, but also people are, on the internet more, maybe have like little animated shorts of, taking us through X-23's life. I mean, then we can, see the son of Wolverine, and then have the thing between Daken.
Yeah,
I always pronounce his name wrong. Daken, D-A-K-E-N.
There's no Y in there. I'll take Daken.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Daken. With him, I mean, I would love to see something happen with Sarah Kinney.
Yes.
So I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff with X-23.
But
personality aside,
Legion's killing it right now. People seem to really be liking that show. Maybe a Netflix TV show for X-23 in the future. Maybe other media. I like that.
Yeah, or like 10-minute things, like how you can get Adventure Time in like 10, 11 minutes. Something small
That'd be great.
like that. Let's do that.
Or heck,
Make
you know
that
what?
happen.
Let's just burn the whole thing to the ground and scoot the X-Men over to the MCU.
Fire.
The MCU, that's all I'm saying. Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They'll never give it up.
I know, we'll see. We asked the same question to you guys on the internet, and now we're going to shoot it over to our social media cam. Charlie Feldman. Charlie, on the social media cam. Is that you, social media?
Yeah, this is how I type now.
Boop, 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 boop. What is Twitter saying about X-23, and if it's a missed opportunity?
First, a little bit of fact checking on the, and sorry again for my voice, the Xavier protocols, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Moira McTaggart.
Yeah.
Are for 0-0.
I'm pretty sure that's what Markia said, but great.
Yeah, no,
thanks,
she got
Internet.
it. She got it.
Nice.
Okay,
Just
cool.
validating that answer.
Facts need to be confirmed nowadays.
Yes, they actually
confirm
do.
that
Yeah,
facts are
alternative
actually
facts.
facts.
True facts.
Exactly.
Also, Netflix kind of does have that show. Isn't that 11? Isn't Stranger Things 11?
kind of 11.
Completely different mutant abilities.
Netflix
so.
put iZombie on there, and then they came out with Santa Clarita Diet. So I'm just saying, like, Netflix is everything
There's
now.
precedent.
There's precedent, yes.
So we asked you guys out there if you want to see more X-23, and we've got pretty much unanimously, yeah, you do.
Cool.
Kevin Ross says, yes, it's the only reason to introduce X-23. A Nerding Rhinoceros says, X-23 needs to have her own franchise, toys, video games. She needs to start the X-Force. Snick. And I couldn't agree more. Snick to you as well.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for the response on Twitter. Keeping it in the Marvel family, I don't think I need to remind anybody of what special day today is, but it is the 10-year anniversary of the release of 2007's Ghost Rider, starring Nicolas Cage, Eva Mendes,
Classic.
and what's the name of the guy from Gotham, from Blade and Grounded for Life? Everybody loves that guy. So
The guy that plays the Penguin?
no.
Oh.
The guy who plays Bullock. That guy.
Oh, Donald
Okay.
Logue.
Donald Logue.
there we go.
Everybody loves Donald Logue.
Right.
So I just thought that we could each share our fondest memories from 2007's Ghost Rider. I'll start. There's some nice memories of Ghost Rider. I'll start. I remember CG abs onto actor Nicolas Cage, an actor who wanted to play a superhero so badly that he settled for Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider. I remember him saying that his head was on fire in the trailer. I remember after watching this film, directed by Mark Steven Johnson, thinking that Mark Steven Johnson's other superhero movie, Ben Affleck's Daredevil, was awesome comparatively, is what I remember. Guys, any other, there he is, there's Donald Logue.
Yeah.
Any other memories from 2007's, wait, then the skull and the reflection. Oh, this trailer.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, I forgot that part.
Oh,
the
no.
parchment.
Oh, no.
Ow, blood. Signed it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Any other,
Was it Wes Bentley in this movie too? And
Yes, he was.
Peter Fonda?
Yes, they were.
They were
Wes
indeed.
Bentley, I think, played Blackheart, I think, or some character named that.
Yep.
What I remember is having a real sense of anticipation for when this was coming out, and then just a real profound sense of disappointment. Like, I wanted to become a Ghost of Vengeance.
Oh my God. Wait, wasn't Sam Elliott the caretaker in this?
Maybe?
I gotta rewatch this movie. Oh, I gotta rewatch
We
this
all
piece
have
of
to
crap.
rewatch this movie.
I think we all do. Dan, any fond memories?
Here's what I remember about the Ghost Rider movie. I remember seeing the trailer, this trailer actually, and saying to myself, wow, that looks terrible.
Yep.
And then not going to see it.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
The world was never the same again.
I feel like that's 2 hours of my life that I've saved at the end of the day. It's in the plus side on my ledger.
Can I be honest with you guys? There is a memory that I will share, a personal memory. One year at Comic-Con, I think it was in like 2009, 2010, 2011, there was a panel that I was wading through to get to another panel that featured Nicolas Cage, his son, and a comic book that they were like pitching. And I forget the name of the comic book. It was something about a voodoo character in New Orleans, because I think they have a house in New Orleans, right?
Okay.
And Nicolas Cage was there as the big draw, but he was basically like, oh, this is my son's comic. Like, he just like, I'm here and I'm helping him, whatever. And they're finally doing this comic
Was
book.
it Kal-El, his son?
It may have been. It
No,
may have
I'm
been.
serious.
Yep.
Okay.
It may,
He
but
named his son
I'm sure he
Kal-El.
goes.
Okay,
I think
I
he
did
went
not
by
know that.
something else.
Okay.
If it wasn't him, it was his other son, the one he didn't name after Superman.
Gotcha.
He
But,
named himself Nicolas Cage,
this
so
guy,
that makes sense.
This guy who, because there was a question and answer portion. This guy came up and he goes, "I just want to say, Nicolas Cage, that your movie." He's like, "I'm a professional stuntman, and I want to help you make a sequel to Ghost Rider, and I want to do this massive stunt where I recreate Evel Knievel's stunt, and I want to help you do it and promote it, and I think we should work together." And it was the most awkward. Like, everyone was like, and he's like, "I brought my son. Like, I want to do it." And Nicolas Cage was like, "Yeah, I would love to see that. That sounds great. Have your people get in contact."
How much
with my
does it
people."
pay?
Just like, he was just like tried to deflect it so badly. And I remember sitting in that hall thinking, there'll never be another Ghost Rider. And then there was. Spirit
was
of
indeed.
Vengeance. He
Nice.
still made another one.
He did.
That's a fond memory I have of Ghost Rider. Guys, thank you so much for being here and talking about X-23 and Logan. To the internet. Big thanks to Dan and Marquette for being here. We want to know, how bad do you guys think Professor X is going to be in this movie? Tell us about what you want to see from X-23. What's that guy's name from Gotham? Dan already actually answered that.
Donald Logue.
Donald, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So
But
let us
who
know
plays the Penguin?
in the comments of all of the questions that we were asking you guys. How stoked are you for Logan? And do you want to see X-23 continue? Or do you think they should just call it, even though you've already got a lot of responses? We're here every single day at Screen Junkies News. We're not fake news. We had something confirmed today that proved that we're not. We're giving you real facts. You can always be tweeting at us at SJ News. And my name is Hector Navarro. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.